It's a busy economic calendar. By the way, is Tom here? Tom's here. Yeah, thank you to
Yes, yes.
Tom. He posted a bunch of really good info. Check out in TRG the week ahead streams. There's some really good data about this quad which we have this week and all the options, and it's massive. And remember what happened the last time it was massive. It can cause a lot of craziness. So.
Okay, so why don't we have a look day by day as to what's going on this week? Is there anything we need to be aware of today? Not really. Bill auctions. You trade the bonds, you get a little wiggle during those. Maybe Pete Valerie maybe even noticed that kind of thing. But other than that, we don't need to be concerned. Tuesday.
CPI.
Another chance for a gap, eh?
Yes, exactly. 5:30 ET or 8:30 ET rather. 5:30 my time. So conveniently right before the open.
Yeah, an hour pre-market. The past 6 months, we have had massive reactions, haven't we? I think it was only 1 month where it didn't gap or the gap didn't remain and it filled that session. But every other time. But you know what? I remember when it happened over the summer, and that was that first instance, the huge gap. And we were like, what the hell? So it's weird how, of course, it's an important number, but it seems to have become more important of late. So be careful if you're trading pre-market on Tuesday. You can easily get your account whipped with that one.
The flip side of that, just to think about it more tactically, is in every single case, every one of these really giant reactions, no matter which way it went, ultimately retraced in the next couple of days. So
Sure.
that's worth noting. If we get a big reaction, I wouldn't try to predict the reaction. I totally agree.
Right. But we also get hugely visible targets and zones, and a lot of opportunity as we start to nibble back into any gaps that are left by those. We have FOMC on Wednesday. Wow, this is going to be a huge week, eh?
Yep.
So FOMC, that's going to be 1 p.m. Central. And the press conference is as wild as the figure. More wild, if anything, actually, because the figure's one and done. Press conference, just intonation on answers can get us doing price discovery in every direction, and then going the other way based on the intonation. And we know the timing window for which there's the press conference, but what we don't know is this question is asked, and then maybe he spends 2.5 minutes answering it, so we go mad. And then another question comes in, so that's always dangerous. Are you going to be doing an ad hoc, Jeff?
Yeah, I just put it up on the calendar. It's going to start 15 minutes before.
Excellent.
And we'll probably go at least till the middle of the press conference. There's usually an event around it, in the price. Yeah. So please book it and join us. It should be fun. We will scalp the extremes, and I bet we'll get someone, particularly if there's some movement. Think about this: if we get movement from CPI on Tuesday, and then we get FOMC movement, it could leave massive holes around to go back and fill in, more quietly. Thursday and Friday when nothing's going on, not quad witching.
ECB day Thursday, retail sales on Thursday.
Yep. Philly Fed on Thursday, Empire State Manufacturing on Thursday, weekly jobless claims on Thursday.
And Friday is only quad witching.
And with a huge, as Tom pointed out, a huge option expiration.
And PMI, actually, that occasion.
Oh, yeah, just a minor PMI.
So this week could be crazy. And if you aren't on top of the release times, you could easily get severely slapped around the face if something happens and you're not expecting it. I don't think I can recall a week that's been this busy on how it's.
I don't either. I was not on the hedge fund call for much of it because of my system problems, but the one piece I dropped in on, they said that exact same thing. These are longtime pro traders, and everyone was kind of struggling to think of a week that had this many really significant announcements, and in an economic environment where anything will move the market. So everybody's got their finger on the trigger.
So I'm still waiting to download my continuous contract on ES, but if that gets stuck, either we can look at your TPO, Jeff, or we'll use NQ as a proxy. It's all the same shape.
I have my TPO up now if you want. We can look at it.
Well, what we'll do, why don't I, while I've got it here, why don't we just look at the footprint overnight and we can at least understand the quality of the ledgers. So here's overnight. The top right now is quite a nice price projector, around 83. So we've gone high enough for now. We're somewhere in the middle of Friday's range, aren't we? And you can see we're filling out a little low volume area from the distribution above us. What was the top of Friday like? Well, it was a long way away. I can certainly assess that. Okay, a little bit of absorption, 100 lots. Not huge, but enough to create a pause. And then if we head down to the bottom, let's understand what the quality of the low at the bottom.
I'm still seeing your calendar, Lee. Are we?
Oh, I'm showing the window, not the screen. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, that's what I get for leaving the room.
Yes.
I went to go make tea at the exact moment that he switched gears and didn't see it happen.
Screen 1, screen 3. That's what we want to share. There we go. That should be coming through now. You should have a footprint.
Yes.
Yeah, we have a footprint.
Yeah.
Wow, that's some low resolution.
This is 2560.
Everything's huge. It's never like this when you share
it's your laptop, isn't it?
Yeah, but the screen is 2560 by 1440.
Looks like 1080p or something to me.
It is big.
It's super readable, but it's big.
Okay, don't know what to
say. Want me to share my TPO?
Yeah,
we do get it all. As far as I can tell, I don't see anything missing. So yeah.
Whatever. Okay, fine. So we've got a good price projector up at the top. It's quite a small range overnight, at least relative to Friday. The quality of the bottom overnight was stops. So, okay, we've got a price projector at the top, stops at the bottom. It's going to be a little bit balanced. Okay, my TPO is just coming in now. That's good. Let's just take a look at the shape. I see Friday on NQ looks like a poor high, but I think we dealt with that. I maybe vaguely remember glancing at that. Yeah, that's played out. We can see as we explode that. I think we went down and got a projection on this. So we closed at the lows on Friday as well. That's interesting. On NQ, did we do? No. Okay. We didn't on ES. We'll just allow that to load. Let's have a look at the full shape of NQ and just get an idea of what's been happening while that's loading up. Well, surprise, surprise. We're on a Monday and we're about in the middle of what's been going on for the past 5-6 sessions. There's no surprise, eh? That tail up there is interesting, isn't it? Above 11,750 on NQ. So NQ for sure has broken out of an immediate range, filled in that low volume area there. We're quite comfortable staying above about 420 and we're bouncing around in the middle. So this week with the figures, NQ above us is going to be 750, below us is going to be, say, 425. Okay, 300-point range there on NQ floating around. Let's just see what ES is like for similar shape. Kind of the same story, isn't it? The double distribution's interesting up here. We're not showing much excess. To the downside, 45? Absolutely 50, but 45 below us. We've got that poor high at 40.22. Now that's interesting because poor highs, poor lows should be resolved sooner or later. They're like unfinished business. So that has absolutely played out on Friday, the projection down from it. But we've got that sitting there for every TPO practitioner waving at us to see, saying, I wasn't really high enough. I was like a double top and we've played out. So our interesting range this week on ES right now is going to be 45 up to 40.20. Now that 40.20 should trade at some point, but that is absolutely then the bottom of kind of the previous area we've been over the past week or two. So we've got an immediate range. We're in the middle. Which way are we going to go? Don't know. It's an interesting area of TPO single prints here. So 73 down to 70. Middle of a distribution there, so that's quite tempting. But other than that, for Monday ahead of a huge news week, I know where my ledgers are. I know which one I think is going to be interesting when we get there. I've got a little air pocket, TPO air pocket, single print run in the middle. Other than that, which way we're going to go? Don't know. We've got a price trajectory at the top overnight, and it stops at the bottom. So we can easily bounce around. And that, for me, just says the immediate opportunity to look for is filling in those single prints. Other than that, I'm going to sit on my hands. What are you seeing, Jeff?
Oh, I was in the middle of typing as you said, what are you seeing?
What are you typing, Jeff?
Yes, I was typing that this is going to be a very good day to let it open and see how this. What I'm trying to think of the right word, and I'm not good on words this morning, but we clearly are in one of these areas where if we leave it, it gets really interesting. Like the poor weak high above us, the lowest, there's a huge air pocket below where there's just absolutely nothing. But the market seems kind of resilient here. Something Tom posted in the chat a minute ago is also noteworthy. Most of Wall Street wants to close their books this week. So that could make things interesting too. That was 2 seconds of the other thing I heard on the hedge fund call. As I said, I arrived to it late, but they were talking a little bit about that. The guys, particularly the guys that work at investment banks and not, their own funds. So
they're wanting to close their books this week. Oh yeah, I suppose so.
Yeah, because of the holidays.
The week of the 20th next week, or at least it tipped, doesn't it? It starts on the 19th. People are going to start traveling. Yeah.
And Christmas is really
weird. They don't have a full week.
It occurs on a weekend this year, and that's really unusual. It usually breaks the week up, but we don't break up the trading week. So yeah, everyone's trying to kind of get done so that next week they're off, even though the market will trade, with thin liquidity and light volume. So the takeaway from that, as a retail scalper, from my point of view, is we're going to get one of two things. We'll get some really cool tradable extremes, or we'll get some really good ranges to play. It should be tradable as long as you just don't get ahead of yourself with what's happening.
I can see a scenario where we test both sides of the range. Now, absent any dramatic news, in the economic releases this week, why should we break those ranges? We can be pushed to those ranges, maybe tease them a little bit, then stops are going to get triggered, which provides liquidity for a huge volume that might want to get back into range. The limit orders on the other side, just beyond. But I would have thought towards the tail end of the week, if something like FOMC doesn't push us out of the range and we go back somewhere comfortable, we should, end of the week somewhere in the middle, and it could be then quiet, and we're just bouncing around in a hugely visible range. From that point on. But like you say, the air pocket below us, I'm going to swap which screen I'm sharing so that we can. Actually, we can see it here, can't we? After that huge run up from the Powell speech, where are you? Do I have enough data in here? Yeah. The huge run-up from the Powell speech, which was, a week and a half ago, I guess?
And you couldn't have asked for a more beautiful rollover away from that. I'm not talking about contract rollover, but just the price just rolled over so smoothly from that high and just fell. It was beautiful.
So here, below 3,900, from kind of beginning of November, we break this 3,950. There is nothing below us for a long time, and we can do 150 points below 39.50 very quickly because there's nothing there. So that's something to be. I would be mindful of that. Purely on the basis of it's such a big vacuum. If it goes, I would not. I would. That's the kind of trade I would want to try and stay in and capitalize on, because the vacuum is so big and we know potentially where it's going. I wouldn't think, oh wow, I got 5 points, that's great. And how that could be a wild trend day if we get there.
Yeah, here's an interesting. Oh, sorry, my platform's distracting me again. Let's see. There was something about that I wanted to add. What was it? Sorry, I got totally distracted there and lost my train of thought. It was about that very thing. And hang on. Let me go back to my notes here. Shoot, it was something really relevant to that air pocket and the motion. And what the heck was I gonna? Oh well, I'll remember it. Let me stop thinking about it.
Okay, what I'll do, I'll bring in the TRG calendar and we'll talk to that quickly.
Yeah, start talking to that. Good
because we've got a
idea.
few changes. So today is quite normal. Jeff is going to be doing some scalping at 11:30 Eastern. Because I skipped today last week, I have padded out my classes into. I'll be running 3 sets of classes this week. So tomorrow we'll be doing aggression and imbalances while imbalances are wrong, and then we'll look at how to trade unfinished auctions later on. Wednesday, we have got Jeff trading the Open, we've got Darren's Dojo, and then also the FOMC ad hoc. On Thursday, I'm going to do a fishing trip, and then we'll get deep into the hows and whys of unfinished auctions. And then we'll look at when is a price rejector not a price rejector, when it's not a price rejector. And we'll go into how to identify that and how to play it. And on Friday, partly because of one lost class last week, and also next week starting to be able to run up to the holidays and a bit of travel from my side as well. On Friday, I'm going to do the kind of mythbusters, or don't get drawn into some of these TA-oriented educator simplistic views of footprints, and we'll go through 4 or 5 of those, which is always fun. We'll also look at how to understand when people are puking out of a trapped volume area, and we can identify that volume in absorption or a price rejector and trying to understand the mechanic of that. And then Jeff will be trading the close. So pretty busy week on the calendar.
Oh, the close this week should be just wild with all this stuff on the calendar.
Yeah,
absolutely.
For sure.
So hey, I remembered what I was going to talk about real quickly. That most people know there's usually a seasonal effect of Christmas rally and we haven't really had one, and whether we do or not, it is irrelevant to the point I'm about to make. There's another seasonal pattern that's very common. It's called the January effect. For whatever reason, it actually usually starts the last 2 weeks of December, and it is seasonally that small caps are much stronger than large cap, quote unquote, blue chip Dow stuff. And given the scenario where we have this giant air pocket below us, and RTY has been relatively holding up, and that's the smaller cap stuff, we could see a very interesting last 2 weeks, as if there is some transition from larger cap stuff to small caps, which again, seasonally is very, very common. It's even more common in midterm election years. And, those are just statistics, but they're interesting. Not an edge, but an interesting kind of spices to the rest of the week, which doesn't have enough going on already. So,
for me, I think my trading tactics may be a bit grandiose, isn't it? Mindset between now and the end of the year. This week is very much, immediately the first opportunity that's jumping out to me is those TPO single prints. The second thing I'm really aware of is that poor high above us, this floor below us, let's say 39.50, and I think we can see both trade, both those levels, this sort of 40-20 area and 39.50. Then the interesting thing, of course, is going to be what if 39.50 breaks. Now, I'm still waiting for this daily chart to load up just so we can look at where we are, because I thought it'd be interesting to, let's just reinforce where did we start the year at versus where might we close the year. But this week I see as being quite formal and well-defined in terms of opportunities. The holiday week and stuff being thin, I am feeling super cautious / super nimble. But one thing that has struck me is, as I look at this shape, there's going to be chart people everywhere going head and shoulders, and we just need to break this 39.50 area, and they're going to be all over potential move down, because we have moved up from October to this, and that I think is going to be a delicious, tempting morsel, this idea around 39.50 neckline going for a lot of people. So that's going to be fascinating to see. But I think we're going to explore the ranges this week, and then we've just got to be alert to the possibility, if 39.50 goes huge vacuum, what if we break the upside though? Don't know, but I can see the bounds. I can't predict what happens beyond.
Well, we could get another epic short squeeze if we can get going to the upside.
Totally.
Yeah.
There's also a bit of a vacuum above us from, I haven't got all the VS up yet, but that's going to be from around.
Yeah, we've got
September is kind of, in fact, yeah, everywhere above here is pretty low volume as well. Everywhere above about 4140 is pretty low volume.
You've got that 4022 poor week high, and there's another one just under 4050 left over. And yeah, then
there's some thin areas as well. Yeah, there's some good opportunity once we get moving.
4160 and 4240 have single prints.
Yeah, so. There's if any release gets the market into a new area, we can move really quickly to the upside or to the downside outside of this immediate range. So I think we need to be alert to traveling quickly to some new ranges. That is opportune.
Here's a real interesting statistic that I don't have the actual deep data on this, but one thing my buddy in New York was telling me, we were emailing about something else, but a pattern, normally large news related events resolve the same session, or, if they happen before the open, they resolve during the regular trading hour session of that day. And then there's some sort of reversal the next day, if it's going to do it. And one of the things he said they've noted in their data is that days we have extremes, we are often closing at the extremes. And we've seen this a couple of times, closing at SD2 or SD3 or above SD3, just way off the VWAP on a couple of days. And that's an unusual pattern that they've noticed over in quant land. And so the takeaway for us retail traders is, on days it's really moving, don't be a hero and try to fade it. Even if you're swarming it, you're much better off going with it the other way and swarming, around a core long. So I know a couple people
patterns in the volume at price as well. I mean, just because we're a long way away doesn't mean anything. It's a long way away, and how is supply and demand reacting at this extreme? You've got to look at this in a compound way.
Yep.
Cool. So I think we are probably in a good place to start to wrap this up. We've gone for 30 minutes. This is quite a tasty week, isn't it? Notwithstanding a hugely busy TRG calendar, we have got some really nice trading opportunities ahead of us.
Yeah, key not to try to make your week on Monday or at the open on Monday. This is going to be a really good week to let it kind of come to you.
Or your year in a week.
Yeah, that too. Yeah. Oh, that's another thing. Again, I wasn't on the full call, but I heard like highlights. A lot of Wall Street, I mentioned this last week, a lot of Wall Street is not seeing any bonus potential and not a lot of time to get there, this week. And so that could create some volatility,
fund managers. You hear the sound of violins?
Yeah, exactly. They have to get a smaller yacht this year.
Yeah.
So,
although that on its own can have economic effects.
Yeah, it can. Wall Street is a massive amount of New York's economy. The bonuses impact the economy substantially. True, that's true in London as well, from the city.
Yes.
So that we laugh about it, but it's not insignificant. So just anything can happen anytime, and this is definitely a tricky, active environment we're in.
All right. Tom saying, so you can get a closing extreme from a 0 day to expire option. You get no follow through. Why? It's zero. Yeah, that makes total sense. Yeah, big option expiry, huge volumes in SPX options, closing every day. Things get resolved, start again the next day. TA people end up frustrated.
Yep.
Yeah, totally. So changing world, it's good. So I think we'll leave it there. Jeff's scalping starts in 2.5 hours, 3.5 hours.
Yeah, we're at 11:30 Eastern, and that ought to be interesting today because of all the stuff we've talked about. I think what we're going to do, because I try to talk around Jigsaw and dome scalping. I think what we're going to do is talk about what you just said, Lee. Trying the search for inflection points in large, huge ranges. How to kind of look at what's going on right now. I've talked about that a little bit with watching the traded volume, but I think that'll be our subject today. So join us, everybody.
Good stuff. So thanks, everybody. Stay frosty, as Amy has said, in emoticon format, and tread carefully. There are some very visible opportunities. Be patient. You get rewarded for being patient. That's the theme for today and maybe the week. So bye for now. We'll see you all at the upcoming events.
Ta-ta.